All right, welcome to episode 126 of Hobby Hotline. My name is John Newman from Sports Card Nation. I am joined this morning by YamWax, Corey Donovan, up in the top. And man, it probably doesn't need an introduction, but I'm going to give him one just the same. Mr. Chris Carlin from Upper Deck. He's actually coming to us from Nashville, Tennessee. So the opposite coast, and
Yeah, it worked out perfect. It is great to actually be back on the road and getting out and pressing the flesh with fans and saying hello. And Nashville is a fantastic town. If you've never been, highly recommend it. Such a fun place. And we are very, very pumped up for the Stadium Series tonight. Nashville Predators against the Tampa Bay Lightning. It is going to be a fun one for sure. It's going to be a cold one, but it's going to be great. So definitely recommend checking that out and watching that tonight.
Yeah. Now, are you there in representing Upper Deck? Like, are there events going on in coordination with
So
the game itself?
last night there was a pre-party event. So we were there, and it's just there's one of our biggest key tenets as a company is just customer engagement and getting to know our customers better. And we met this one fan who is the ultimate Predators fan. He wears a mask. He has a belt. It's like no joke. And he hosted this pre-party last night. And he's on stage going crazy, and everyone is so fired up. And we were sharing some packs with that audience. And then today, we're going to be set up at Nissan Stadium, braving the cold, giving people their own Upper Deck personalized trading cards. We're going to be playing some pack wars, giving out some of the National Hockey Card Day packs. And we have this one game that's so fun, John. It's called box hockey, where the object, it's two people in a small box. They've got to try to use the stick to get it through some hurdles, basically, and in order to score on each other. It is loud, it is funny, and there'll be some video from
now I gotta ask this: Can you check it, Nick?
No, they're on one person's on one side, one person's on the other side, but there's all sorts of hijinks that happen. It's great.
Oh, so they're racing. They're in a sense racing against.
Basically, yeah. So if you get behind, you got to push your puck through these little obstacles in order to get it through and score. So yeah, it's great.
That's Chris, cool. Are there hits that people are looking for in these National Hockey Card Day checklists?
Yeah, so it's only a 15 card base set. We try to make it 16. There's one extra card that you can get if you make a purchase at your local hobby shop. But it's pretty easy set to put together. But there are three elements of chase. One are Victory Black rookies. The second are a mascot series card, and it was funny. I had Bobby Ryan, the former NHL player, opening a pack last night. He pulled the gritty, and he was so excited. He's like, "My kid's gonna love this." And then there are autographs. They are hard to pull, but yes, there are autographs included as well. So
nice. My oldest is 24 now, but probably until he's about 16. I probably even shouldn't say that, but he used to sleep with a little Finn whale stuffed animal.
Yes,
so he'd be looking for that mascot.
Yeah, so Finny is in there. He's a great mascot. Not a lot of killer whale mascots out there, but yeah, Finny is probably the tops, and yeah, there's some others as well. So there's American packs, which you see here, and then there are Canadian packs. So the Canadian packs obviously have the Canadian mascots. The American packs have the American mascots. So pretty cool how we do that.
Sweet.
Got a comment from Rex Gocher. Good morning from New Buffalo, Michigan. Happy National Hockey Card Day from your newest Upper Deck certified diamond dealer.
Oh, that's awesome! Yeah, so if you want to be a hobby shop, Upper Deck has some more stricter policies with regard to that. We want everyone to have an even playing field. So what I mean by that is, you have a shop that's paying insurance, they're paying employees, they're paying for security, they're paying rent. And then some manufacturers will allow someone to operate like that, and then they'll also allow someone to operate, from their basement in their pajamas, selling on eBay half the time, and we don't think that's fair. So it is a little trickier to become an Upper Deck certified diamond dealer. So hats off to you, my friend, and it is worth it. I went to a shop yesterday, Nash Cards, who got started by having an Instagram account, and now they have a physical brick and mortar store, and it was awesome to see.
Chris Kelsey, good dude. Real quick, he's actually from the Central New York area, and actually back in the day played softball against him. So I know
serious?
he's been on the show. Yeah, so I know. Yeah.
We talk
retired.
A lot about getting kids in the hobby and doing things like this, National Hockey Card Day, the quick packs at the National. I go to my local hobby shop to pick up big kid cards, things that I'm after. Yes. And when they throw in those extra packs, they're awesome because I bring them home to my kids and they can open them up. And I just think those initiatives, we just can't do enough of.
Yeah, it is a pricey one. Obviously, when you're giving out hundreds of thousands of packs, it's not free. Our hobby shops pay a price for them. We subsidize a lot of that to make it easy for them to get. We found that the first couple years, I think we gave them out for free to shops. And unfortunately, when you don't have any equity in it, sometimes the shops would, sell them or do other things that weren't great. So by having them pay for a portion of it, there's a little more equity in it, and they actually are buying into the program, and it's worked much better. But make sure you thank your hobby shop today, because they are a big sponsor of the initiative. And I'm going to open up a pack real quick. This is the U.S. I love the design of the cards this year. For U.S., it looks like this, kind of the stars and stripes type feel. For Canada, it's got a big maple leaf. So Cole Caulfield couldn't be hotter right now. Jean Leclerc, Jake Gensel. This guy is a hot one for sure, and he doesn't have a lot of cards out there because of delays with manufacturing. This is going to be one of Maurice Sider's first rookies, and Sean McKeekern is in there as well. So yeah, I mean it's a fun set to rip. It's a lot of fun to visit different hobby shops and check them out. All you got to do is walk in the door. They'll give you one. Here's old Keith Kachuk. I love this Marc-Andre Fleury. Spencer Knight is a great young one. Mike Modano, of course.
Yeah, better.
Jack Hughes. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. So definitely get out there and rip some packs.
Now, Chris, you have on the American side, you're gonna get different cards than on the Canadian side. Has it always been done like that, or is this the first time you're differentiating?
No, we started this promotion out in Canada only. Hockey is their main sport, so that's where it started. It was a Canadian program. Then we started to hear the rumblings. Hey, bring this to the States, kind of like the Tim Hortons program. We want it. We want to give us.
I'll hold my thought, but I want to talk about the Tim Hortons thing. But go ahead.
So I think our third year, we decided, we didn't want to just make it a universal program. We wanted there to be an element of nationality to it, I guess I'd say, and that's been worked really well for us. Where we've got, Cole Caulfield plays for the Montreal Canadiens. Some would say that he should be in the Canadian set, but he's an American-born player. So what we try to do is make the American set American-born players. Obviously, Mike Modano is a guy, probably one of the best American-born players. And then the Canadian packs have Canadian players. And I got to tell you, I think we are very close with regard to how the hobby is growing, especially with initiatives like EPAC, making it more accessible for people to collect overseas. I think next year we might be doing an international set. So there could be 3 different packs to collect, and it's just a signal of how the hobby's growing overseas.
Yeah,
That's cool.
More work for Upper Deck, but be awesome. And
Yeah.
and one nice thing too, Chris, I like kind of that you get different cards in the different countries, because I think it'll promote trading across the board. If you're if you're
Oh
here
my
in the
gosh.
States and
If
you want
social
the
media has
Canadian
done,
cards, and you
yeah,
know what I mean? Hey, I got extra of these American version cards. What do you got extras? And it'll promote some cross the border trading to complete both of those sets as
yeah,
a
if social media has done anything for us, John, it is definitely the card groups, especially the Facebook groups, do such a great job of you know promoting the hobby through trading, and it is great to see that what I've found is that some American fans will hit their shops and get extra packs, and Canadian fans will do the same, and then they'll
yeah.
they'll basically trade packs. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool. And then if, like you said, if you get a European edition next year, let's say, there'll
Yeah,
be a three-way trade. And they're called trading cards for
for
a
a
reason.
reason. Absolutely.
That's not by accident. So,
Yeah.
all right, you mentioned Tim Hortons. I'm a huge we got the problem here in the States. You probably know this, Chris. We have less Tim Hortons now than we used to have. I have one here in Syracuse still that I love. I'm Dunkin' Donuts is probably going to take me off the Christmas card list, but I like Tim Hortons better. Me and my wife actually have heated debates about this. But you mentioned like not being able to get the Tim Hortons cards here in the States. Maybe explain why, and is that something maybe in the future that can change?
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty simple. Tim Hortons is the breakfast sponsor for the NHL in Canada, um, and I believe it's McDonald's or Dunkin' Donuts that's in the U.S. So we would need to do a different deal with one of those partners in order to bring it down. So we are trying to be fiercely loyal to Tim Hortons for getting behind this program and doing such an excellent job in executing it every year. So it's tricky to try to do a different program in the States when we know it's going to be so successful in Canada every year. Everyone just looks forward to it, and they do just a tremendous job of marketing it. It's a little worrisome to try to do something like that in the States where, in Canada, they love all sports, but hockey's their number one. And in the States, unfortunately, hockey's probably number 2 or 3, maybe even 4. So it's something that we want to make sure is desirable, is going to be successful, and basically that's how it cracks down. So we haven't
Chris,
had
a nod to you guys.
decision to make it happen yet in the States, but we
A
have.
nod to Upper Deck.
Go ahead.
And talking about trading and everything is in hockey cards. That's not my first collecting area. Like a lot of people in the hobby, I think there's other sports that have been bigger, but Jeremy Lee is in particular somebody who's opened my eyes to hockey cards and how cool they are, right? And so I think like hobbyists are looking, where do I go in hockey cards? And Young Guns is a big brand, and people think of that first and go and get those and the canvases and different things, but there's so many cool parallels and different colors and the ice products and going after the autographs of like the Sub-Zeros and different things like that. There's really neat products, so I encourage collectors to dig in deeper. Even exquisite cards are within some of your Upper Deck products, and they're just really cool cards. I think a little bit underrated.
Yeah, and one thing that to that point is, God, the hockey jerseys are beautiful. They're so colorful. I mean, this is an Upper Deck one, but when you look at jersey cards and patch cards, man, some of the patch cards that we make are so dang cool. It's like, holy cow. So I absolutely hear you. I appreciate that. And our team, I mean, Upper Deck was founded on just being the best cards in the market, and for any sport. And so now that we're stapled in hockey, I love it. I was talking to the NHL. We went out with some of the NHL folks last night, and it's just they're such a pleasure to work with, and we have such a great relationship with them. I don't see that changing anytime soon. So
that's awesome. And if you love those great patches, those monumentals are really neat too. With the giant
monumental patches for sure from the cup are amazing. They're a booklet that opens up patch. And then there's signed versions as well. So those are crazy. And I've got to give hats off to our team a little bit too. We had the opportunity to make Exquisite a brand that would be higher end than the cup. And there was a lot of internal debate about it. And one of the biggest concerns was, what would it do to make a more premium version of the cup to all the cup cards that are out there in the market? You know, would it devalue them? Would it hurt them? And that was a major factor with regard to us deciding not to create an Exquisite brand that would be sold. We created it that would be an overlay program in 3 different releases. So it's almost like an insert series. So I think that's really cool that we didn't, so often you'll hear collectors or folks in the hobby media saying, this product's a cash grab or things like that. Well, there are instances where manufacturers don't do that, and they are looking out for the best interest of the collectors.
Couple comments let's get to. Rich Klein says,
Rich.
Happy National Happy Card Day, and I will stop by my LCS, who is participating later in the day. And let's see, foul ball, Christian Briner, just say no, coming to the U.S., USA, Dunkin' Donuts.
Listen,
Dunkin' Run.
I would love a Dunkin' Donuts set. I think back, especially, maybe it could be Fleer with the Dunk and Go Nuts,
the
series. So listen, we would be open to it. It's just got to be a priority for them. So,
well, as much as I go to Tim Hortons more, but if you did that, I think the tides might
bring you over.
Yeah, sure. I mean, coffee. I'm not too big of a stick. I'm not a coffee diva, so I'll drink.
Yeah, if you're picking up a 44-ounce coffee, you got to at least go for a blaster, right? You got to jumbo up your card buy when you're there.
That's right.
Alf Gaudette says, love my Tim's card. So, and the other thing, Chris, I talked about, we can't get them here, but like you said, so between selling platforms, social media, they're obtained. I mean, I still get them. I don't want to make it like I just can't get them at Tim Hortons. I can still acquire them and trade or buy them. So, I mean, it's not the end of the world.
There's so many of those Facebook groups that are just set up to trade specific types of cards. There are Tim Hortons Upper Deck specific groups that are set up. That it's really cool how the hobbies become more accessible to everyone. I think so. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, let me put up a couple pictures here of. So here we got the Stadium Series where you're at in Nashville. It's the Tampa Bay Lightning versus the Nashville Predators. Check out these jerseys they're rocking tonight.
That's so cool.
That's awesome.
Look at, I'm not a Predators fan. Obviously, I'm wearing the red, but I mean, I got a feeling they're going to sell a lot of these Smashville jerseys.
See, all I'm thinking about when I see that, John, is what an amazing patch card that's going to make.
Yeah. And listen, and when you think about that, hey, they're really only wearing them today. I think even when we talk about the rarity or, it's not their regular jersey. So I think there's going to be, not that you're doing it necessarily for that reason, but those jersey cards are going to even have a premium on because exactly what game they were.
Upper Deck is absolutely, as a sponsor, we are absolutely getting assets from this game. So it's going to be great.
Yeah, and so what is the temperature in Nashville right now?
I think it's probably going to be between 20 and 30 tonight. So it'll be cold, but it won't be one of the coldest games I've ever been to, that's for sure. So, and it's a sellout. So, I love coming out here for Titans games. When the Chargers left San Diego, my wife and I adopted the Tennessee Titans as our NFL team, and mostly just so we could come out to Nashville and enjoy games out here. And that stadium is fantastic. The fans are great, and I'm really looking forward to seeing a hockey game there tonight. That's going to be amazing.
Yeah,
that's so cool. Shoot, here in Minnesota, 20 degrees, we would take that.
Yeah, that's short
to go for a walk around the lake.
Yeah,
I think it was 0 degrees when we had the Winter Classic.
That's right.
At the end of December, early January timeframe. Yeah, it was great. I mean, a lot of hardy Minnesotans came out there, and even Joe Mauer from the Twins was in attendance because it was inside Target Field. But it was such a great vibe. We had John Hamm came to town because he's a big blues fan. He was hitting all the local bars and dives. They're just great stories all around it. So I'm excited for you guys to see what comes out of it.
For sure. Yeah, we had Bobby Ryan, the former NHL player, was out at the pre-party last night, and he was opening up National Hockey Card Day packs, and it just it does bring out a lot of different celebrities or former players, and it's just a really great time. So yeah,
cool.
Let me put up a graphic about National Hockey Card Day, since it is. There you go. Then you see kind of both,
so the Canadian design, like
versions.
if you're from Canada, like how great is that? You get the big maple leaf behind, and I think the American design is very sleek this year. For a program where you're getting the packs for free, the cards are freaking pretty darn cool. So I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, very cool. And I was going to say this when Yam was, giving his kudos, and I've said this on the show, Sports Card Nation, Chris. I'm not saying this because I'm talking to you right now. Upper Deck, when it comes to design, is right there. Some of the designs you have for your brands are just tremendous, and kind of an era where we've seen, I don't want to say laziness, but maybe some lack of ingenuity because so much has been done already. You guys really, whenever I open something, like, man, these are really sharp. I constantly saying that. How do you stay on top of that?
Because you're absolutely right. I think our design team is amazing, and one of the reasons why they are, John, is so many of them have worked for us for 20 plus years. Like it's there are people in our pre-press group that are so passionate and compelled to really keep elevating the bar and raising it with regard to design, and there's only so many ways that you can innovate a 2.5 by 3.5 inch piece of cardstock. It's really tricky to kind of keep doing that, and gosh, kudos to our design team. They've been fantastic for a long time, for sure.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for acetate cards. So anytime I see, and you guys do a good job in that category, that just I'm reeled in when I see those, and you do a great job with them, and you do more than one version. So it's not where you have multiple options, and even some inserts, and then what the Blades of Steel cards. Those things are insane.
The metal cards are so dang cool. They're heavy. They're chunky.
Yeah. You could hurt somebody.
Well, it's interesting. We actually have to round the corners on those. Because of fear of it, poking someone's eye out. I remember I gave my son like a trading card when he was 1, like just for a photo op. But he almost poked his eye out. So you got to be careful. Yeah.
Well, the rounded corners, they grade well. That's a good thing too.
Well, the other cool thing about acetate and metal cards is, you can drop them all you want. Probably not going to damage them too bad. So you
could probably. I'm not telling people to do this, but you can probably run those acetate cards underwater if you had to. And really
absolutely.
So, I'm not. Listen, if you do that and something happens, it's not my fault. I'm just saying I think you could get away with it. So. Man, I want to talk about, we're talking about hockey. It is National Hockey Card Day, but you had your AEW release. That league is, there's people that will say, Chris, that it's better than it's past the WWE, at least in their book. And I'm not a wrestling guy per se, but a friend of mine is. I was at his house and we watched some. And I was kind of riveted by it. They do a great job putting on a show, and you guys are now the brand for producing their cards. Talk about how that went. Was it, what you thought, or I'll let you speak.
You're so right. The production quality is so darn good. I will not usually let my sons watch it because they're 8 and 10, and I know that they will start acting out on what they see. But I did let them watch one Wednesday night show, and they were like, what is this wonderful world we've never known before? They're going crazy. So when my youngest did an arm bar on my oldest, I had to turn it off. But it was great until then. And you're right. I do a lot with our social media, and seeing the fan interaction and engagement is remarkable. Just when we announced the deal to when product is hitting the street, like, they are a passionate fan base, especially overseas too. So I am really excited for AEW launching on EPAC, where it will give people more access to experience the product. But man, God, that has been just a wonderful surprise. Like, we've done small forays in wrestling before with Goodwin Champions or things along those lines, but to have a flagship release like Upper Deck AEW hit has been amazing. I was at Nash Cards yesterday, and they're like, God, we wish we would have ordered more, and quite frankly, we wish we would have produced more. We didn't know that it was going to be this well received by that audience, and they are such great partners. They're sharing trading cards, in broadcast, and talking about the cards and the product, and the authenticated memorabilia that we do. It's been a wonderful partnership. So we hope that goes for a long time for sure.
Yeah, Chris, congratulations on getting to AEW. I mean, it's such an exciting time for that league. And when you look at the personalities that they have, MJF and Britt Baker, and of course Cody, and you can go on, it's really an incredible product that I feel is going over on some of the other leagues out there. And you look at things like whether it's MMA or wrestling or whatever it is, it's these personalities and even their engagement on social media that really brings those characters forward. I think it even surprises the leagues themselves sometimes at which personalities
Absolutely.
seem to go over the top, right? And
Yeah.
So to get people like that, yeah, I thought of the same thing when you brought up AEW. I showed that Thunder Rosa Britt Baker match, where it's just this insane match that happened a few months ago.
Yeah.
Where at one point, I think Britt Baker gets tossed into a pile of tacks, and we're just like, oh, they're not going to do that. And it was, people are bloody, and it felt like old school wrestling again.
Yes.
Yeah, but they're doing, and the women are leading the way in a lot of these cases too. And so there's these just, great personalities, and really, great first out of the gate. It was during the pandemic. So they're, you guys had things like sticker autos and things that were necessary, I think, just due to the timing and everything. But as a first product, some really cool memorabilia pieces in there. Of course, all these characters, first major brand cards for a lot of these people. So just a really fun release. I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, Spectrum will be next up this summer, and that will be more of a hobby focus type of product. So a little more premium and a lot more chase. But yeah, just having rookie cards for some of these characters is amazing. And I forget which athlete it was. It could have been Thunder Rosa who shared on Twitter that her hockey card is not deemed a form of identification by TSA, and she didn't think that was right. So she was using that to try to get through security, which is so funny. So yeah,
that's funny. This is one of these moments for these people, right? Like, I'm on an action figure, I have a trading card, and it, and then the league is growing with your product as well, because I think you're propelling each other. It's just really neat.
Absolutely, yeah, it's great.
Yeah, so and I'm not a wrestling expert, but my buddy's a wrestling historian, and he said like AEW is the first league to come along and really push WWE, and he even said they do just so many things even better. Like, he's a huge fan. He said he says if I even had to pick between the two now, he said it'd be hard to not pick AEW. So from him, who's literally a wrestling historian, that's mighty praise. So I wanted to throw
absolutely. It's really crazy when you have something go up against such a big entity. It reminds me of like the XFL or other initiatives like that try to take on the big dog, and so seldom do they actually achieve a victory or are able to sustain for more than one season. So yeah, it's amazing what AEW has accomplished, and they're growing. Their fan base is so passionate, and we're here to support that and be a long-term partner for sure.
Yeah. So I'm known for kind of chasing weird, unique, older cards, different things and stuff. So I'd be remiss not to mention, of course, this is the first AEW licensed product and everything, but some of these characters, there are a few indie products, whether the people call those the rookies or XRCs or whatever they're going to call them. Before this, with Ring of Honor and All In trading cards that are really neat to look at. Of course, they're pretty basic, but they're kind of hard to come by these days in high grade. So some of us like to have that to pair with our upper deck.
You're so right, and some of the classic wrestling cards are just so dang cool. And of course, what makes them so cool is that they weren't mass produced. There wasn't a ton of them out there, and it brings me back to being a kid. I would often go to, there was a hobby shop that was right next to this grocery store. So my mom would go shopping and just leave me there, and they were kind of like my babysitter. But I was always buying baseball cards. I was like, baseball cards is where it's at, blah, blah, blah. And I let the NBA, the NFL, the NHL cards just sit there. And how stupid was I? It was the junk wax era, and I'm buying the most popular thing instead of the one that's most collectible, which would be, the Joe Montana rookies, the Michael Jordan rookies, the Wayne Gretzky rookies. So that's my own fault. But yeah, going back to what you were saying with those vintage type wrestling cards, so cool because they're just rare like that. People didn't buy into it initially, and now we're seeing them elevate in value and interest for sure.
A couple questions, Chris, from Alf. Gaudette, will Upper Deck ever get a rookie logo on a card?
We did rookie logos for a little while. I just don't know that they're that important to have it appear cross brand. So it is something that's been discussed, but we do a pretty good job of identifying rookies in each release, and quite frankly, the feeling is it may take away a bit from each brand's rookie card. So would it take away a bit from Young Guns? Would it take away from Future Watch? That's a concern. So there's a variety of factors in that decision-making process, but I'm not saying never. I think we absolutely will at some time look to bring that rookie logo back, but it's just not going to be in the near future. The brands right now have such equity and value in and of themselves that it's not deemed necessary to have a rookie logo at this time, but we'll see.
I can envision. I mean, I'm not on the design team, but I'm gonna throw my my hat in the ring. Like, if you ever do a rookie logo, I mean, for at least for the hockey releases, I mean, to see it like on a puck with an RC somewhere, and maybe a little flame coming out.
Yeah, we've done like gold before, but that's the other thing, John, is it really does impact design, where you have to account for that in each release, and does it make the designs a little more vanilla? I know people don't think of that when they think, it just makes sense to add equity and value to the rookies, but it does impact the design. So yeah, like we were saying earlier,
I don't think you need them on like a Young Guns or Future Watch, like you mentioned. I think those sort of speak for themselves. Alf that came back. He said, "What about even putting them on the reverse side, on the backs?"
Not a bad idea. I think we'd probably be more open to that for sure. That makes a bit more sense.
Yeah. Retail question from Foul 5 Ball. Why isn't there still no retail hockey available? He said it's been 6 months since he's seen a pack.
Well, we've definitely sold it to retailers. So the problem is literally, it will be on shelf for one day and then it's gone. But the biggest thing is we haven't had the normal cadence with regard to our release schedule, and no manufacturer has. It has been a bear to get the materials needed, to get time on press from different manufacturers, it's from different vendors. So we were pretty quick to look at other options when the pandemic hit. We printed our MVP and O-Pee-Chee release from a fantastic vendor in Italy. So we looked, and we continue to look at other options to get time on press. Like, so many of our releases are ready to print. we just can't get the materials needed or time on press to do so. So it's beyond frustrating for us. I know it's extremely frustrating for collectors and fans, but they're coming. Alpici just hit this last week. UD1's hitting this week. National Hockey Card Day today. So that's 3 releases in basically a week. So things are moving now, and things are starting to go back to normal as much as we can hope. And I'm very optimistic that he won't be waiting too much longer for more releases at retail. But the problem is, when the pandemic hit, people weren't spending their money on vacations. They weren't going out to eat, and we saw this ridiculous renewed interest in the category. And we can sustain. Most manufacturers can sustain a bump, but for the bump in interest to be so significant, there's just not enough supply, and it is a tough decision with regard to how much product do you make, because we're making a collectible product at the end of the day. It's not pizzas, we're not making cookies here. So if there was demand for that, you could make it all day long. But if you're making a collectible type of product, you want there to be some rarity, you want there to be some scarcity. And if you're making millions of packs, well, that just doesn't happen. So you're looking to increase redemptions, which we hate. You're looking to water down the product a bit and not have it as collectible. So it is really probably the most difficult, moral situation that manufacturers are having right now is how much do we make? And if you make too much, the hobby's pretty quick to notice that, and they're not going to buy it. It'll be under cost again, and you have those issues. So it has been a dance for sure. So we'll just see how it goes, but we're doing our best to get product out there, and we're starting to see it move a lot more than it was.
I feel like we're getting closer to a better balance now, though. At least it's getting closer to it, where, of course, we all want to see new products come out, and there's supply chain issues and whatever. But on the shelves, if I go to Target, I'm a dad, suburban dad, so I go a couple times a week. And if I go there, maybe every 3rd or 4th time, there's something there. At one time, I felt like I hit a home run. I picked up an AEW blaster, some Young Guns packs, and a Chronicles box. And, I got to check out and open cards with my kid, it was just for fun. But we're starting to see those cards occasionally be on the shelves again, where it was, you had to know when the delivery was being made in the past.
Absolutely. Yeah. There are those collectors who know when drop off is, and they're ready to go. But you're right. Sometimes you hit the checkout stand, you're like, I killed it. So I feel that for sure.
Yeah, I can only speak to what here in Syracuse where I am. I go to the Walmart, regular shopping, let's say, and I'll buy some. There's Upper Deck Hockey there, different releases. I'll pick up some, and then I'll be there a couple of days later, and it's not there anymore. It's sold out. So it's like you said, timing is different parts of the country. Hockey has different fan levels, so it may be. I'm not trying to give you speak for you, but it depends where you are too, and
for sure.
And just you got your hawks there that know, like you said, Chris, that know when that distributor's coming with that van, and it may hit the shelf and be only there a few minutes, it stinks if you're looking for it. I get it, but
we're absolutely seeing that with AEW for sure. Where people are like, I hit my Walmart every day, and we sold it to them. Like, I don't know what to tell them. It was out there. It just wasn't out there when you got there. So yeah, it's crazy.
When you talk about production, like how much do we make? I mean, what determines that? Is there a formula, or are you just a feel of where the hobby is?
So it ties to the solicitation process, John, where we will go out probably about 5 to 6 months out from a product release. We have a good feel for what we did last year, what we did, what was a similar product, if it's a new product, where was our volume at, but we solicit the product and we wait to hear back from our distributors and direct accounts in terms of their pre-orders. So that's a real important process for us. It's only lasts about a couple weeks for them to get their pre-orders in based on what we solicit. But yeah, if it's great, it's you could do some small volume increases or reductions, which we've done both. But if it's significant, like we saw with AEW, or God, even golf was one where it was drastically underproduced, but it was pre-pandemic solicitation, that happened with it. So it's one of those things where you just can't, you just never know. So I've been disappointed with the pricing on our golf releases, just how high it is. But it's just a reflection of the darn market and how many people are back into it. So I am excited that SP Authentic Golf will be out in about a couple months. But we're already working on new golf releases. There's so many great young players. I don't feel like you can do a golf release every year with regard to rookies. They just don't come up like they do as quickly with that you see in baseball, basketball, hockey, football. So I think our cadence for golf will be every 2 to 3 years for new releases, but just to give the rookies time to develop and perform and have value. So
got Logan saying, "Hey guys, hey Logan." He's out looking. He's out looking for F1 blasters. Good luck.
He's not alone. Yeah.
Well, F1, that's a corollary to golf in a way. I mean, they have their kind of minor leagues, I guess, F2, F3, but the rookies there too. But that's just gotten so hot, where they're probably making something every couple times a year.
Yeah, no, it's great to see. I love seeing it. We always say a rising tide lifts all ships. So we root on Topps, we root on Panini, we root on Fanatics and even Leaf. Because if they're making good products and the leagues are going well, then it's good for everyone. So to see F1 be successful is great. Our biggest concern, I think, right now is what's happening with MLB. And if they don't make some moves quick, we're canceling games on Monday. And that is when you start to see the fans revolt a bit, and you start to see it impact collectibles. I know this very, very well from being at Upper Deck. I started in 1997 when there was an NBA lockout. And our president has a funny saying, Jason Mashra will say, we're about as nimble as an oil tanker, with regard to steering, and you see an iceberg ahead and you want to move away from it, but you still have league requirements. You still have bought all these supplies to make the products. So you gotta make them, and that you're going to make too much in a labor dispute. And I think Upper Deck at the time in 97 was about 750, 800 employees. But after that, we were down to about 400 and change. So it goes to show, every day I would show up, I'd be like, am I getting fired today? Am I getting, it's crazy the impact that a labor dispute can have. And it's one of the reasons why we have diversified our portfolio so much to have AEW, to have Marvel, to have esports, because we know that, these labor disputes can happen, and when they do, they can be crippling. So you've got to make sure that you are diversified. So
absolutely, and this hobby is diversified now too, right? And we have other tides that are lifting up the hobby. And I think you had that on the docket for today, John, to talk about PSA moving east and a splashy new facility potentially opening by 2023. I just think of that as something that gives the hobby a bigger profile to have an East Coast pillar like that. Your thoughts, John?
I think John might have froze, but I'd love to talk about that too. I think it's amazing. when PSA to me is really the gold standard for grading and authenticity. I lost my brother recently, and he worked in sports for over 20 years, and he had some amazing collectibles. I've got 2 Kobe score sheets that I brought PSA that he signed from his 81-point game and his 61-point game, and they do just such a fantastic job. Obviously they are inundated with so many submissions and getting that backlog cleared out, but I got to tell you, when grading companies are serious, they will reach out to the manufacturer and ask questions, and they have a research department, and PSA is a fantastic one, and they bother me so much. It seems tedious for me. It's almost like a second job answering their questions on products, but I think at the end of the day, God bless them. They're doing their due diligence, whereas I just don't see that from other grading companies. So I certainly appreciate that and think very highly of their services, even with regard to the scandals that pop up or definitely conspiracy theories, collector conspiracy theories. I was actually talking to them, and one of the main calls that they get is, I think you swapped out my card. I think you swapped out my coin. That's not the one I sent in. Like, and to us, it sounds funny, but to collectors, they're so passionate about their what they own that they believe that someone is taking the time at a huge company like this to, oh, that's John Newman's card. Let's swap it out and give him a lesser. Like, who does that? So I thought that was
No,
funny.
I want the reverse.
Yeah, give me the reverse one. Yeah, give me the better one.
Yeah, in the backlog, I've been trying to hire in this environment at my organization, and it's so hard. And I just give them incredible credit. I know they've more than doubled their staff over something like 9 months, and to do that is really an incredible initiative. And they are where they are as far as the backlog with the new organization taking over. But all you can look at is what are they doing to address it. I feel like they're taking incredible moves and big supporters of the hobby. I think opening up this office on the East Coast shows that they want to continue to be, to push the hobby forward and to make a big splash.
Yeah, and it's funny, like collectors we're so quirky in our ways. We'll ship stuff to people. It drives us, to agita just with regard to, did it get there? Is it safe? What have you. So the fact that they allow drop-off services and things along those lines and expanding like this, I think is great for the hobby for sure. Because I know so many collectors, dealers that will fly out to California just to do drop-offs for PSA. So to have more locations is almost a no-brainer. So it's cool that they're kind of leading the charge there.
Yeah, hopefully it eliminates the backlog. Like Yam said, I know that they're trying. It's not for necessary lack of effort, but if you're a grading company, I've had an order in there for an over a year, to be transparent and honest. Like, if you're a grading company and you have 1 million cards that aren't yours, that are worth all sorts of values, man, that would make me nervous. God forbid.
I feel like they've got to have their own insurance agency in office, like, oh my gosh, you're so right. There's so many times I'll handle a card where I start to get nervous and sweaty, like even him, like this is amazing. So the fact that they have so many of those there, you're right. Like, that's crazy.
I don't know this. I'm guessing, Chris, and yeah, like, I would think that the building's never unoccupied. Like, there's got to be somebody, even if they're not grading cards, it's maybe 3 a.m. They've got to have some type of employee that's just there on premises, whether it be for theft protection or, if something was to, God forbid, I hate to, catch fire, where maybe they can nip it. And I wouldn't think the building would be completely never, there'd be hours where there's no one on prem. Not with that kind of inventory. We think about Fort Knox, right? With precious metals, right? There's always somebody going to be guarding that place.
Yeah, but also fire safety, anti-static stuff. Like, they cannot they can't even have the anti-fire depressant stuff go off, because that would ruin the cards too. So it's a lot of concerns, definitely, and to their credit, it seems like they have those issues.
You're right with the numismatics. People don't think about until I think a couple of years ago, coins were the main thing that was their top submissions, and it's changed to cards during the pandemic, but it's a whole different collectible world, the numismatic market with coins. Really interesting and pretty cool.
comment I want to get to from Theodore Walters. It was Weathers, I should say, a little earlier in the chat room. He said the hate on base is bad for the hobby. I hate watching breaks, and the breaker only looks for chase cards. Not everyone can afford the chase cards. Well, here's the thing, Theodore. Like, I'm a base card guy. Like, I collect rookies. Like, hobby the way you want to do. Whether what the breaker does doesn't really affect what you collect or want to purchase and buy. So I know what you're saying, but again, you control kind of how you hobby. So I'm a base card guy. I feel you, but what a breaker doesn't affect how I spend money in the hobby or what I acquire. So if that's your thing, don't let someone else's maybe attitude, if I could say that, affect what you want to do. It really shouldn't.
Yeah, and I would echo that. Don't watch it. Like they all look at their views and their the reactions and comments and likes. Uh, don't give them the power if you feel that way about a certain breaker, for sure. Upper Deck has really tried to uh, make sure our distribution channels are clean by partnering with what we deem are the best in the business. So we have a channel for authorized group breakers, and it's very hard to become one, very hard, and it's also it's difficult uh, for people to make that move and invest in technology and distribution and reputation. So the authorized group breakers that we work with are pretty much the best. And if there's a lot of new ones that are popping up and they're trying to be sensational and they're trying to make a splash, and I would caution everyone to really be careful with regard to that, because you hear a fairly decent amount of horror stories with regard to breakers doing unethical things like swapping out cards or just not sending things out. You really want to make sure that you're working with the best, and I'm glad that we've created a channel like that.
Yep, and hey, that kind of that base card, it probably drives the prices down a little bit, makes them a little bit maybe more affordable while everyone's chasing that bigger card or insert.
Well, again,
sometimes it's not a bad thing.
I'm gonna say for a free pack, here's a pretty compelling design, So
Yeah,
for a base card, so this is Quentin Byfield's one of his first trading cards for the Kings. So definitely get out and get your National Hockey Card Day packs and enjoy those base cards, because I think we killed it.
Sports Card Nation, Chris, we do an annual award show. We've done it 3 years now, where we let everyone else sort of vote on social media for best brand, best hobby products. Upper Deck regained best company by choice of the people. So congratulations there. And the best new product was, and I'm piggybacking off Alf Gaudette saying he loved the Metal Universe, Skybox Metal Universe. That was chosen as best new product of 2021. So I loved it. It was great. Took me back to some earlier years, and it was just well done with all the inserts. And we talk about base cards. I mean, even the base cards in that particular product are to me were stunning. So someone else don't like base cards. Good, more for the rest of us.
More for the
That
rest of
do.
us, absolutely.
And for those of us who like to chase down rarity, we'll always find it. Even if there is increased production over time and more base cards, and people can go out and enjoy those, I can open those with my kids. We can chase down. We think of the '90s and the metal releases. There were incredible cards that obviously have gained massive value since then. So as we see what happens over the next couple of years with production, if you like rarity, it's going to still be there for us.
Yep. Nice comment from Theodore Upper Deck. Best thing that happened to the hobby, 1989. I was there for that. He remembers the iconic Nolan Ryan
Yes.
throwing the football, which is people don't know. A little backstory. That's a Tom. I think his name's Grieve. He was the pitching coach, and that was a method that he used on his staff to strengthen arm, just right arm slot and that sort of thing, and seemed to work. Nolan Ryan did all right. At that point, he was already entrenched as probably a Hall of Famer, but Yeah, I mean that's the thing. You know, I talked about the design, Chris. I mean, that's my only. When I look at some of these great upper deck designs, I'm just like, man, I wish we could get them. You know, on other sports besides hockey and wrestling and other things. But you know, it is what it is. But I mean, that's not your fault. I'm just saying. I just look at it like that, like you know what we see sometimes from other brands, like they sort of fall short a little bit on the mark. They should be, you know, taking a page out of what you guys are doing. But you know, kudos again.
Yeah, not just other sports, but also other individuals. So continuing, you know, to see the non-sport releases like Marvel this past year, that was awesome. I'm excited to see what
Tom House.
you guys have that
Yep.
come out of non-sport.
Yeah, even James Bond. You know, I didn't love the last Bond movie, but the series is so iconic, and to be able to use the power of our brand to tell the James Bond story is really cool. We've got 2 releases out now that are under Upper Deck's uh, uh, agreement with the Bond franchise. I like the Villains and Henchmen release that we just did because the Bond bad guys are always just the best. So yeah, it's crazy. And then you think about things like esports. I never in a million years thought I would see video games being video game competitions on ESPN, but Overwatch League is a big deal, and there's a lot of other ones out there, and we're looking to be a major player in that space as well. So it's cool to see, you know, things that would never have cards previously being card worthy all of a sudden. It's really cool.
My here in the Twin Cities in Minnesota, there's now high school leagues for drone racers that they broadcast live, and people even, I know some of these races people wage on them and bet on them. So I'm going to be first in line for the Upper Deck drone racing rookie cards.
My kids love watching that stuff too. It is so fun. Yeah, it's amazing, all these different worlds that are out there, and it's one of the things that we hear often on social are just these very you know, super niche type sports. Like, why aren't you making more curling cards? You know, and people feel like, well, you know, we have done some, but you know, we're not quite there. Drag racing is one I hear a lot, which I actually think would be fantastic, but especially with what F1 has done. But yeah, we're just, some fans are so passionate they want their sport to be card worthy, and it's just interesting how it goes.
Well, I'm gonna do a shameless plug, and I'm gonna include Yam and some of the guys we have in the chat room. We need like a content creator set. I don't know how well it'll sell, but I'll like it for the.
You know, Thompson's done a bit of that with Alan and Ginter, and we've looked at it. You know, there are so many people in the hobby that are absolutely card worthy. You know, from creators to dealers to collectors, so it's
hard.
It is
where do you draw the line? Yeah, and then where do you?
Yeah, you know, Mr. Newman has his own set from all the guests on his show. You were showing off your creator set.
I love that custom card you had done. Hey, I'm gonna use that guy to for a card I'm doing. So
anyone that's been on the show, Yam's got a card. Chris, I know you do. So, but. Rich Klein has a Topps card, he says. So there.
Yeah.
And he has, I like this. And I have a Newman card. A question from John Keating, that 70s card show. I'm not sure about this, so I'll put it up. I don't know what has anything changed with the purchase of Blizzard Entertainment?
No, not yet. We don't anticipate it will. It's almost like Fanatics acquiring Topps type of deal. Blizzard has been a fantastic partner of ours, and we're actually coming out with a 30th anniversary Blizzard set. That's gonna. It's so cool walking through our pre-press department because you get to see like the cards that are coming 6 months from now. You know, so I really dig that. But I'm excited for that, and I expect our relationship with Blizzard to only grow in the future, based on where we're at with esports and the licenses that, you know, the creative that they have. So we're excited about what comes in the future and what they do in the future as well. I think it could absolutely enhance some of the offerings and bring forth new properties that the likes of which we've never seen before. So we're excited about that.
Couple late questions getting thrown at you, Chris. This one from Rich Klein. I'm going to spell the name wrong, but any progress on the indigenous set?
Yes. So there are a group of well, it all started with I think just having listening to your collectors, and I met a fantastic collector named Cardinal at a show, and what he was doing was he was collecting. He's indigenous, so basically the Native Americans of Canada, and he was collecting players that were indigenous that played in the NHL. And so I got to know Name, and we talked, and he was chasing some really obscure items for some players who just never had a card. And I kind of just had one of those epiphany moments where I was like, well, let's give these people a god dang card. So using Name, I wanted it to be a real, authentic representation of indigenous players. And so Name wrote all the card backs. We worked with an indigenous designer to create the trading card design for this set. And I've seen the cards now, and they're out for approvals with the families. But I am super excited to bring this to market. And there are 3 players who we weren't able to get images of. It's just really hard to find old images, unfortunately, and that you could purchase. Imagery is one of the most unappreciated forms of the hobby. I think that people don't realize how much work and how much you pay for images for trading cards. So we are contracting an indigenous designer or indigenous artist to actually paint the three of the rookie cards. So there have been a lot of challenges in bringing that to the market, but the first wave is coming in the coming months, and then we'll have another wave with the 3 other painted players probably in the fall. So I'm super excited about that one. I think it's really a cool initiative.
That's
Kudos
awesome.
to
And then
UD. Yeah, kudos to UD. I know that Name is even before he connected with you guys, that he was connecting with families of these players and really helping them get those players cards, but then finding so many didn't have them, and so he's just a great connector and ambassador to work through. So that's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome to hear that you had a Native American, like even in the design. So they're fully involved.
Yeah, I told Name right from the beginning, I'm a white guy from California. I can't tell your story. So let's make this as authentic as possible. Let's find the right people to do it, and it's just going to make for a better product in the end. And I think it will. So it's a lot more challenging using resources that are outside of our building to get things done. But we've done it, and we're very close to bringing that out. So I'm super pumped for. It's really a kudos to collectors like Name to bring that forth. So it's long overdue for many of these families and some of the players. So I think it's going to be great. There is one more that we're working on. The Heritage Classic is another outdoor game that will feature the Buffalo Sabres and the Toronto Maple Leafs in Hamilton in a few weeks. But everyone knows Willie O'Ree as the first black hockey player. He's a Canadian-born player. The first African-American hockey player is a guy named Valmore James. He played for both the Sabres and the Leafs. And I've been wanting to do a card with this guy for a long time. He's never had a licensed NHL card before. He wrote a really compelling book called Black Ice and tells his story. And we are creating a Sabres card for him, and we are creating a Leafs card for him. And I'm hopeful that he'll actually be at the game. He lives in Buffalo, and maybe we could have him sign some of those copies. So I think it's really important to do some of those initiatives, mostly because you look at our hobby, you go to a show like the National or what have you, and it's a bunch of middle-aged white dudes, and look at this screen right now, we are, and it is what it is. There's nothing wrong with it. But if we really want to look at growing the hobby, it always has shocked me how few African Americans collect, how few Native Americans collect. So we need these initiatives to help grow the hobby. And John, you've done great by having female guests on here before. That's a whole nother segment that used to make up about 9% of our offerings, our market, and now we're seeing that grow. So female collectors, different ethnicities, I think is critical for the long-term success of the hobby.
I agree. I think we're seeing them grow. I think we're going in the right direction.
Yes.
So I think each year we have this conversation, and I'm hopeful that those numbers will trend higher. And I'm a big kids in the hobby guy as well, and it seems to me we're seeing even a lot more kids becoming active.
Oh my gosh. And it's almost like a Tiger Woods effect, John, with how many kids are engaged right now, where the hobby is boomed because of people who collected during the junk wax era, not having anything to do and looking to re-engage. So for all the kids in now, I think about 10, 15 years from now, what the hobby could look like. It's crazy. The hobby is that independent band that you loved in college and you never wanted to see sell out or go big. And now the hobby's selling out stadiums, so it's that crazy dynamic.
Sounds like the Dave Matthews Band, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
but you kind of still love it too. Yeah.
Well, we went a little bit over an hour, but deservedly so. A lot of great information, important details, folks. It's National Hockey Day. Get to your LCS, whatever side of the border you're on. Get your packs. You spend $10? You get that special edition
16th rookie card. Yeah.
Yeah, and so there you go, and celebrate the day. Chris enjoyed the game. Should be awesome, but maybe a little chilly, like you said, but there's worse things than that. So, like you said, we'll look for some of those Smashville jersey cuts
absolutely
in future products. So,
guys, it's been a lot of fun. It's been an honor.
Chris. Thanks everyone else out there.
Yeah, thank you guys for sharing the morning with me. It was
thanks
a great conversation, and we appreciate it for sure.
Yeah, thanks everyone in the chat room. Thanks everybody who was watching or even downloading this later on. We'll see you very soon.